Get started. The panoramic photos, I did not like the printout I did, so I'm redoing them. So if you have your mats with you, you can leave them with me. I'll put them in my office. So you don't have to haul them back next week, and just leave them with me. We'll do it first of class next week. I didn't like them, so I'm gonna reprint them again. We could have done them, but I didn't like them. So you guys spent the money on those. I want to make sure the pictures are good. So I'm going to redo those. So before you leave tonight, just give me your mat and I'll put them up in my office and we'll leave them here until next week. Or you can take it with you and bring it back, however you want to do it. If you don't want to haul it back, I'll keep it for you. Okay, week 11 is where we're at tonight, and we're going to be covering lighting. I've got a presentation we're going to go over first, and then the lighting lab. If you have a tripod, that's great. If you don't, you can do it without a tripod, or I think a couple of you brought yours. You can use each other's tripod, that's fine. You're going to basically, at the end of the lab, you'll be in pairs of, and I think it's going to work good here for what we got so far. So it looks like we have enough for 3 pairs to work on right now. And so you will work in pairs in the photo shoot. And once you're finished with your photos, you'll take a couple pictures of each other playing with the lights. I'll show you how to do it. I'll have everybody come up and have you play with the lights before you do this. But you'll kind of look at each other's photos when you're done, and you'll email 1 to 3 of your favorite photos from the lab photo shoot, and upload them to that email address on number 1 here, or email them like we always do to the Foki account. And then this link here, I'm going to redirect. It's to last semester, but this is correct here. I did update this to the new email for the lab. And then we'll go over the final project stuff. Actually, we'll do that before the lighting lab, so you'll kind of know about that. Final help. Voice thread, I think I told you last week we're not doing any more of those because they started charging. And then extra credit. This one here is for a layout and design extra credit on creating a poster. If you want extra credit, you could do that, or just do it for fun. You'll create a poster, read this PDF file. You'll end up creating a poster, saving it as a JPEG, and submitting it below. And so that's for extra credit. Forward fasting, we're in week 11. Week 12, which is next week. I was looking at the schedule over the weekend. This one here, I think it's week 13, where the photo shoot is really supposed to be, not week 12. Because I did update that on the lab. So let me make sure. Because I think I told you guys it was next week, if I'm not mistaken, week 12. But I was looking at the schedule, and, well, technically, probably good to do it. Have you guys already told everybody next week for the portraits yet? Anybody give anybody a date already for next week? You have? Okay. Well, the reason I ask is next week probably would be a good week to do it, because week 13, I would like everybody to start on working on your final project. So I'm going to keep week 12 as but you have to do some things this week you have to go into next week's folder, basically, week 12, to help me know who you've asked. Inside this portrait count for week 12, it says complete by this Thursday, technically next Thursday, but this Thursday, I need you to do this week, this portrait count. And all you're going to do is tell me how many people you're bringing, any pets, any snacks you might want to bring. I won't move this into week 11. I'll just leave it in week 12. And if you guys don't mind filling this out between now and next Tuesday, that way I have an idea of who's coming to the portrait. Okay, so you said you already invited some folks. And so invite your family and friends to this. We'll do it next Tuesday, the portrait. And that's week 12. Week 13, you'll begin working on your final presentation. Weeks 14 and 15 as well. and week 16 you'll present. So let's cover first the final stuff that's going to be, you're going to be working on, the final project. This introducing yourself to final project assignment number 11. This is a, you're going to choose a photography profession this week that you're going to use for your final, using the final handout we'll look at in a second, and submit below. You can do more than one profession, so you can do like nature maybe, and I don't know, sports would be an example. The portfolios are still up here that I brought up here a couple weeks ago. They're still up here on the table you can look at before you leave tonight. You'll be creating your hard copy portfolio. In the hard copy portfolio, you will have in it, I'll just pull one here, Nico's here, has a cover sheet that has his name and class and semester, and then inside the DVD he created, resume, and then after the resume, he's got his thumbnails of all the pictures he used for his printout and also DVD. And then he's got, it looks like 5 or 8 8x10 portraits that he did. And I believe I've changed it where you only need a minimum of 3 to 5 is good on the printouts. And you can get these printed out in any Photoshop, your 8x10s. So everybody will be creating one of those. And let's go over the final.pdf here. So what you're going to do this week, between now and next Tuesday, besides fill out the how many people's coming in week 12, you're going to also do this final assignment, which you're going to choose a profession in photography. You're going to choose one or more, up to 2. And so here's the professions. I'll read them. Photojournalist. Let me go back and open this up in a full window. It'll be easier to read. There we go, much better. And let's expand it out a little bit. There we go, like that. Okay, photojournalist. More important to get the shot than worry about technique, speed, deadlines are important. Features, like series of photos to accompany an article, time, research, and design on this one. Photo essay, like pictures tell a story. Miko's is an example of a photo essay type of a portfolio. And then covers or special use get attention. So it could be for shock value or other means. And then the next one, sports. This one has to do with long lenses, continuous shooting. You don't need long lenses on this one though, just a description. All of your cameras have sports mode in it for continuous shooting, and most of yours have continuous shooting mode as well, where you can press and hold the button down and continuously shoot until you release it. Nature, landscape, animals, deal with weather and other conditions, challenging, need patience and perseverance for this one. Retail, portraits, children, families, schools, pets have become almost popular as children. Weddings, dealing with emotions and chaos. Retouching, making customer look their best. We went over that already on, doing minor retouches to your photo, blemishes, things of that nature. Red eye. Paparazzi, celebrities not always invited. And then forensics, accident reconstruction. I did have a student a few semesters back, chose this one, and she had like 3 or 4 kids, and she actually had them involved in the assignment, and they put up all these cones outside, did the marking of a person on the ground, the whole thing. So it was pretty good. She did a good job, but it was kind of a family thing, so that was kind of cool. So this one, like accident reconstruction, images of the scene, crime scene, preserving the scene, objects, placement, evidence, physical or person, item size, distasteful, disruptive, process documentation, maintaining a record, archaeological digs, documentation. And if you just Google forensics photography, there is tons of examples of what it looks like and what it's about on any of these actually. but this is one most students are kind of, I mean, you've seen CSIs probably, CSI whatever, on TV, but this is it's a real job, and you know, not as glamorous as the TV portrays it as, I'm guessing. But it is a photographer uh, career in forensics photography. They actually have people that's all they do. Commercial, architecture, real estate. Some of you are in this already, so it might be in your right down your alley. Buildings and interior spaces, construction photos before and after, during and after a project. Products like catalogs and magazines, food, magazine books, people, models and clothes. Fashion is the next one. Clothes are more important than models and the layout. Entertainment, concerts, theaters, and movies. A number of students over the years have done on this, what, you know, taking pictures at local concerts, whether it be local pubs, bars, inside a Coronado, whatever, and ask permission to take photos. And generally, if you're a student, most venues will give you access to come in and give you a little badge and take photos. But you have to be the one actually asking them to do it. But I've never had a student turn down on any event that's asked to take photos, or a student in photography class won't know if they could come in and be a photography for the day, and to learn what it is about taking photos in a real live concert. And so most of them say, yeah, here, come at this time, we'll give you a badge. And sometimes they email me, sometimes they don't, and make sure they're a student, but usually show the Rock Valley College badge or whatever. And so a number of students have done that. That's an option. Art, there's one or two portfolios in here that have to do with art photography, where they've taken a photo, maybe add artistic effects to it after the fact in post-production. That's an avenue of photography you can go down to. One student had a daughter who was going to the prom at the time, or getting ready to go to the prom, and so she used this assignment to take part of her senior pictures, and then what they did, she was kind of in a gothic type of look, the daughter was, and so she did a lot of gothic type of effects to the photos using Pixlr effects. Pixlr has you've opened it up and seen it, but I think it's called Pixelmatic or something like that. It does a lot of cool effects on images, and so she used that for her final, and also used those pictures for her final, or for her daughter's senior pictures. So that was a family thing as well. So that's part one, what you'll be doing this week. Here in a couple weeks, in week 13, you'll begin part two, which is putting everything together. Now, it's kind of a misnomer here where it says shoot your photos and prepare images for publication. I think I've already mentioned this. More than likely, you're going to be using photos you've taken in this semester, or older photos even I'll let you use that you've taken prior to coming to this class. You can use those as well. And so like family vacations, whatever, where you can implement those into your portfolio. Make sense? So you don't have to take all your photos from scratch. In fact, you probably won't. I don't encourage you to do that. You're not going to have time. And so, not to say you won't take a few, possibly, but you don't have to get all of them from shooting brand new photos. Preparing images, you'll most likely want to bring in all your photos into Picasa at home, or whatever imaging software you use at home. That's the one I've recommended. And just do general touch-ups on all the images. Make sure the brightness is good. Make sure the levels are good. Red eyes out of the pictures, blemishes, stuff like that. Cropping, make sure everything looks good. And I'd like you, I recommend you doing all of your images. And so let's say you get 50 images, which is 30 to 50 is the average number of pictures that students use for their DVD. That's average. 30 is usually the minimum average, up to 50 maximum. So I'd say 30 is around the average. If you shoot for 30, you're good. You're only going to print out 3 to 5 8x10s. Miko did 8. You don't have to do that many. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to do that many.
They need to be on glossy.
Yeah, it's glossy, matte photo, is fine. And they're usually about, I don't know, during that time when we're starting to take pictures, what I always tell students is there's always places that have deals on pictures, like Walgreens or Menard, or not Menards, I'm trying to think, Woodman's, yeah, Walmart, whatever. Wherever you find deals, just let everybody know when you come to class on Tuesday. So everybody else can take advantage of it, kind of thing. But because some of them might have, like, I remember one semester for 1 week, one place was printing 8x10s for like $1.50 or something crazy. So everybody, glossy 8x10, so everybody took advantage of it and just got their pictures taken care of. And so if you see any, that's great. Let everybody know about it, or let me know about it, and I'll email everybody in the class if it's prior to Tuesday. Like over the weekend, you see something, because even in the weekends, I will check your email and can email everybody quickly. And so once you get all your photos and you prepared them on part 2, you're going to then, like it says here, choose a profession from the list above and create a simple portfolio that would be suitable for a job interview. That's the purpose of it. So even though some of you aren't going into this as a career per se, this is a project. This is what you're doing. And so you could use this as a job interview tool as well, because I have had students do that with this portfolio. But a lot of students just use it to start a portfolio that they continually add to after they leave the class. Because after you're going to know how to do all this, you're going to keep adding to it, hopefully. Keep adding, like every event you now have, you can now know how to create a DVD from that event. You know how to create thumbnails from that event. You know how to put together all that into a binder maybe and keep them in a bookshelf or something, I don't know, where you can pull out a binder and it has in that binder a DVD, thumbnails, and a few of the 8x10s you really like out of that event. And so you can use this for personal purposes only if you wanted to, which a lot of students do. Or you could use it to, I've had a number of students decide they want to try out weddings and start there and taking wedding photography and, ask family and friends, hey, can I do it for next to nothing to get the experience? And then that builds their confidence, and then they start doing it throughout the summer months. And Rockford's very busy when it comes to weddings in the summer months. And so people are always looking for photographers. And the average bill for a photographer per day is around $800 per 1-day session, those that do it all the time. And that's pretty good money. So if you're wanting to go into something like that, it is an option. There's also options going into post-production for folks, meaning they've taken photos and maybe you really like doing the DVD part, you really get into that. And there's 1 or 2 companies in town that do this full time, post-production, but I've had a couple students in here each semester that usually have, one last semester actually did this, she does this for a living, post-production, where people bring in their photos, and then she would, edit those photos, put them on DVD, and then give it back to him and charge whatever it was she charged to do that over the years. And so you might like that part of it as well. But either way, this will help you whether it's professionally or personally. Hopefully this portfolio will help you. And then the resume part, you are going to tailor the resume for photography. Some of you might be a while since you've done any resume building, so it's a good exercise for you to get back into that, especially if you're going to need a job in the future or you're looking to get a new job in the future, which I know some of you are. This will be a good exercise for you on the resume building part. And I help you with that and give you some examples starting in week 13 on resume examples to help you as like a template I give you. So you'll shoot as many photos as necessary for your project. Again, the average is 30 to 50. You'll create a contact sheet of all the images. You'll print that contact sheet. You'll use a contact sheet. Using those contact sheets, choose the photos you would probably use for your project. And what it means by that is those that you're going to print. You also may need to shoot more pictures if you don't get what you want the first time, then get for digital cameras. And then finally, handing in your digital presentation on the DVD. So the final presentation is going to include a binder, and it says here minimum of 15 images, but I've already updated it. I've updated like 2 semesters ago, but not on the PDF file. You can have 3 to 5 images on printed out. Music. Well, I'm sorry. This is for DVD. DVD is normally 30 images. It's 15 here, but minimum of 15. Most students do 30. Music in the background, and then the DVD will play while the music's playing, or while the music will play while the pictures are moving. So that's one part of it. The DVD is one part of it. And then the second part is the binder. The binder is half-inch binder, no folders, minimum of 3 images, 8x10 images, in protective sheets. And you can buy all these at Walmart. Cover page, name, class on that. Simple resume, and then contact sheet of all images. A couple ways you can create the DVD. One is using iDVD on the Macs in here, or you can use Picasa. And let me go back to the folder week 11, because I have another folder in here, I believe, for final. Yeah, final help folder. There is a, there's your photography resume example. Creating a DVD with Picasa. Since you already have Picasa on your computers at home, this just goes through how to do it. You'll create a what's called a gift CD in Picasa, and then burn it to disk, and it allows you to play it back using Picasa only. During the presentation, you guys will be presenting it up here on my Mac, and then it'll be recorded. Your voice will be, the video will be recorded, and it'll be put out as a podcast for that week for everybody to see. In fact, I think if I go forward a little bit to the end here, so I know I have some out on iTunes still. Yeah, and I'll have this actually in each week's folder starting in week 13, which it gives you a breakdown of the point value and everything. Let's go into, so I've been updated. I've only been putting on iTunes thus far. I have been putting them in each week, our podcast, but not on iTunes. So, but I think I have some old final stuff out there. It's macro stuff. Maybe I don't. Well, I don't. I think I went over one in this class already. Showed you guys the final example. So that's the final example, what your requirements. So what you'll be doing this week is choosing a final profession, submitting it in this folder where it says assignment number 11, introduce final project. Okay. Tonight what we're going to do is, well, is there any question on that, on your final project submission, what you need to do? And you can do up to 2 professions that you can choose from. So all I need in here between now and next Tuesday is your name and the title, and say, I don't know, sports and landscape, whatever. Okay? Or just sports, or just landscape, or just, you know, art, photography, whatever it is you want to do. And so if you have any questions about it, you can see me before you leave. Fairly straightforward, though, as far as what I need from you this week. So let's go ahead and watch the Prezi on the lighting lab. Let's go through it this way. Log in. Oh, I know what it was. Prezi doesn't like to be embedded in the page. Okay. Okay, so here's the lights. We're going to go over in just a second up to the front of the room. As you can see, when I turn them around, you've got these lights here mounted here, screwed in here, and then it's got a reflective back. Has a red button on each one of them where you can manually test it to make sure it's working. Don't look directly into it because you won't see for a few seconds. It's fired off with a flash on your camera. Okay, so I'll turn it back around, and when your camera fires towards this backdrop, both of these will go off. Okay, they'll go off at the same time, and it uses the click inside of everybody's camera, and it detects it. So when you're, that's why I have you do it in pairs. That way, only one click's going at a time. But when we do the photo lab next week, there will be in 2 rooms. We're going to use 2 rooms over there, and I'm going to have one set of light in one room, one set of light in another room. They'll be far enough apart to where when you're in one room, it won't detect it in the other room, so that won't matter. They also have, for high-end SLRs, they have a little hole inside of each one of them where you can do what's called a remote light, where you just push. Looks kind of like a blood pressure rubber thing. You know, the thing they push on a blood pressure to pump up the blood pressure cuff. Kind of looks like that, and it plugs into lights. But most photographers don't use that anymore. They just use a built-in flash that it triggers from the flash on your camera. Now, the flash on your camera, when you're taking these type of photos with the lights, you want the flash to be on full flash at all times. So you're gonna have the flash from your camera. You'll also have the flash from these going at the same time. So 3 flashes will be hitting the individual. The flash from your camera is gonna be the middle light. The flashes from these are gonna be from the side light, from the left and right of the individual. You'll also experiment though by turning off lights. There is on the back of each one of these underneath a switch right here. If you turn this off, off is the 0 down, and then the minus is on. So you can practice by turning off one or the other, and then seeing what it looks like against this backdrop. The lighting in here is not that great, so this should work pretty good in this room. It's going to work better in the room next week, but at least you get a chance to play with how the lights work, you know, how lights look, different places of where the lights are placed on the individual, kind of reflecting on the individual will help you. And so you'll practice with each other, kind of seeing what it looks like. You can also adjust these to go up or down as well. Okay, so you're not going to really hurt anything. Just, you know, I've had them for years. These actually cost about, originally these only cost about $200 for the whole package. And that comes with the 2 lights, the 2 stands, and the 2 umbrellas. And it's actually a company out of Illinois. It's Smith Victor out of Bartlett, Illinois. Cameracraft also carries these, about the same price tag, between $125 to $180. You can get a set of lights. If you want to just buy one light, though, it's about $100, $75 to $100 for one light and one stand, which is usually plenty for a novice and wants to take photos in your home with your family periodically or at events. Packs up real nice and you can carry it. But even if you wanted to buy the 2, it's not that expensive, not really that expensive. So that's what the lights look like. And the reflectiveness of the umbrella reflects the light. The closer the umbrella is to the light, the more light is absorbed in the umbrella before it's cast out. So the further light's away, the broader span of light it brings on the subject. And so if you bring it in closer, it's a more narrow light on the individual. Now for lights at home, the way I did for years was you can use a pillowcase over a lampshade at home that will give you good soft light on an individual in a living room or dining room or next to a fireplace. Those tall lamp lights that are fairly inexpensive Put a pillowcase over that. The China lights is what I call them. You can get at IKEA in Schaumburg. They're little balls of light. Like they're really cheaply made, but they're really cheap to buy. Those make really good soft lights for photo in a room, in a house with your family, and they're very inexpensive. I've used those and tell students to use those. And so, these are going to be pulled out for bigger groups, definitely more formal events. But what I just mentioned for lighting works fine in everyday lighting for your home. It works great. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over this Prezi real quick. So what does light do? We've went over lighting a little bit already in here this semester. Talked about lighting quite a bit, how important it is to have lights. But what the lights do to the subject is it adds softness to the lights. It adds shadows, and it could also add depth. One of these three things it could do. And so if we talk about the Chinese lights, they're really light in color. I mean, in light, and the power source is very light. Not a lot of light coming out from it. And so when you take them with those type of lights, it kind of looks like you're in a room like this. If they were over here on my side here and you took a photo of me, this side of my body would be kind of illuminated a little bit, but this side would be kind of dark. Okay? Be kind of dark because the lights would be on this side of me. Now if I had lights on both sides would be full color. But a lot of times you'll see photos to where only one side of the individual is lit, meaning that you can see the light source is just on this side. The light source is not on this side. And it kind of gives a cameo effect on this side and more of a clear effect on this side. And so you'll see that a lot in portraits. Shadows are also used in lighting to bring in the natural shadow of a person. So it's not always a bad thing to have shadows in a photo. And then depth, it also adds, lights add depth to any type of photo. So umbrella